So, thank you so much for, first of all, for your precious time you're dedicating us, and welcome on board on VEROROCK.it. Let's start with the first question. How was going this European tour, and which are your expectations from these two Italian gigs?
It's all been a great success so far. Yeah, that's all you can really say, and we expect tonight to be equally as good, if not better, because it's one of the best audiences we have here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say that. Rome. Yeah. I always look forward to playing Rome because it's such a lovely city. The audience is very special. Yeah. Very, passionate about what we do. Yeah. And we don't get here enough times. We'll play Milan because it's a bit new to the rest of Europe.
I'm just doing an interview.
But yeah, coming down to Rome, it's always fabulous.
Yeah. And talking about the new album that you have recently published with the friends from the orchestra, how was born this great idea to remake your songs with a symphonic arrangement? And could you tell us something about the additional members that will play with you during this tour?
Yeah, well, it was really after the success of the last series of concerts we did with them, and the success of the Roll Out Hall DVD Blu-ray that we filmed. We thought it would be good because we've got to write the next Marillion album, which is not a quick process. So we thought in the meantime this would be a nice idea to revisit that kind of approach and actually record an album with them of some of the arrangements of that Mike Hunter's done of some of the other tracks. So I think it's a really good thing. It has a different aspect, I suppose, so people can hear some of those older songs in a slightly different way, and a lot of people are really loving it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, one or two of the songs really brought out using the extra orchestration. Yeah. And what's nice about what we've done with the orchestration is that it's not a full orchestra.
Yeah, of course.
So it enhances what we do as opposed to kind of overstates,
and
the orchestral side.
Yeah, and about the cover concept of this album, that bears resemblance to the Radiation album cover, maybe. And what is the idea behind it?
You'd have to speak to Carl Glover, the designer, who did both sleeves, really. But I think it was a.
It's the same designer.
The same designer, and I think it was intentional to have like that kind of reference, really, back in time. But I think it's an intriguing design. I think it works well.
Yeah, and how is the response of the public, critics and fan for these records?
Oh, they're loving it. I mean, they've really embraced the whole orchestral side of what we do, and it critically being very well acclaimed as well. So we seem to be doing a lot of things right at the moment, which is we're in a very good place.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
I know, as Steve was talking about the success of the Royal Albert Hall 2 years ago, we just played 2 more shows there at the end of our British leg of the tour, which were again very successful, and it's nice to be able to take that kind of show and bring it out to the rest of Europe.
And which is the funniest thing happened in your long career, and the worst thing?
Funniest thing? You think of anything, Pete?
The funniest thing? There's got to be quite a few. I know the worst thing, actually. Well, the worst thing that's happened on this tour is one of the trucks crashed on the way here.
I'm sorry for
So the trucks were late. Well, they weren't as late as we thought they would be. They were, on the way here. Luckily, just outside of one of the tunnels, one of the springs went on the cab, and he lost all steering, and the truck crashed on him. So they had to wait, and You know, the police and all of that. Get the truck tucked road.
The driver was fine. No one else was injured, and the equipment's fine. So
luckily, it was amazing because it was all of this stage equipment that we use as well.
Backline.
Delicate electronics in there.
Well, we say it works. We're going to go and sound check it probably in about 10 minutes, and we'll let you know then if it's still working.
Yeah. And now a question for Steve. We all know about your solo project, in particular way the one shared with our Riccardo Romano from Rane Strane Band.
Yeah.
How was born this collaboration, and are there any new dates for a tour with him and your young daughter in the coming future after this tournament with Marillion?
Well, this was born, I mean, I did some music many years ago that for the European Space Agency for a time-lapse from the space station. And that kind of gave me the idea doing the album, and I had some visits to the European Southern Observatory in northern Chile a couple of years ago. The first time with Pete, actually, Parallel. I just thought it'd be a really cool concept. I've always loved space and science fiction and astronomy. So I had this idea of doing this album, Reverend Toulet, that I'm kind of writing with Riccardo, most of it, and it's kind of coming together. I don't know as to when it comes out.
Some point. Difficult to
at some point. Hopefully this year sometime, if I can find a window that doesn't detract from anything else that's happening. I think Riccardo and Jenny are doing a show in Italy at some point in March or April or something, but I won't be over for that, unfortunately. But I saw a lot of Riccardo yesterday, and he's working very hard. He's writing another solo album as well as everything else. So he's a bit like me, really. He never stops working.
He does. He does work hard.
And for you, a question. We all know about your great job with Transatlantic Band.
The answer is yes.
With Mike Portray and the Reverend, we can say Reverend Neil Morse.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
And are you working on some new material with them? Any new album for the coming future?
Yes.
Oh,
we actually have written and arranged an album. We went to Sweden. A studio just outside Gothenburg, which was Roine Stoltz's studio that he uses for the Flower Kings. And it worked really well. Mike's put the drums on. Neil and Roine are putting their parts on. And as soon as this tour's finished, I'll be back in my studio to get into the bass parts, and singing as well, because there's some singing I need to do.
And which was the first musical instrument whom you started playing music during your childhood?
I didn't really play an instrument until I started playing the guitar when I was 15, really. So quite late to the game.
And
I think the first thing I ever played was probably a ukulele. But I started playing guitar when I was about 6.
And
but we always had a piano, so it was probably piano and guitar. But when I say started playing, what I mean is making sound.
Making sound.
But I did used to sort of learn to play guitar chords. So.
And obviously you've made the history of a musical genre since more than 30 years ago. How has changed the way to compose and write music in all these years? Which are the main evolution of the sound and the key top points that have marked your steps in your career? Shortly, of course.
I mean, for the last few albums, I suppose we write a lot more by jamming and then arranging those ideas. When maybe in the past, when we worked with Dave Meegan, it was a slightly different approach. But with Mike Hunter, that tends to be the focus, is we just go in there and make a lot of noise, and eventually something good comes out of it, and we use those as the building blocks. But with every album we try and do something new. I think that's the thing that keeps Marillion fresh as a band, is there's still so much creativity between the five of us, and we're not bored of it. A lot of bands by this stage in their career, they're kind of just going through the motions, but there's still real fire and a passion for music, which is very unusual. In people this old.
Absolutely. I was going to say that because there are times in the studio when we're jamming together and everybody suddenly gets that there's a great idea just happening. and you try and sort of grasp hold of it and see
yeah.
where you can take it. You know?
Yeah. And which are your musical influences, the artists and bands with whom you grew up musically talking?
Yeah, it changes through the years. You know, when, I think when we're all young, we're kind of exposed to the music of the Beatles.
Yeah.
That's probably the universal thing. But I mean, then for me, you know, getting into prog rock and Genesis and Pink Floyd and Camel and bands like that, and then songwriters, people like Joni Mitchell, you know, Kate Bush, Crowded House. Yeah, just great songs kind of becomes more important, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, great songs and musicians, and you know, there are bands now that I listen to and I respect much more than I did when I was a bit younger.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
But of course, yeah, I mean, the Beatles was probably the first thing that we all relate to. And then, yes, same with Steve, yes, Genesis.
Yeah.
Camel, I used to really like Caravan as well.
Caravan,
yeah,
of course.
And then things like Steely Dan, I got into all of that. Being a bass player, I got into quite a lot of that kind of funk stuff as well.
Yes.
So, yeah, all sorts of things.
And if you have to suggest one of your albums to someone who doesn't know your music, which one you choose?
That's really tricky. Probably either Afraid of Sunlight or Marbles.
Okay. And you?
Yeah, those are good choices. I was probably going to say Afraid of Sunlight. I also think Sounds That Can't Be Made is a good album, actually. For, you know, those, you know, although people really relate to Brave and possibly Fear as well, I think Sounds That Can't Be Made is a good kind of.
And which
substitute.
Which is your favorite album ever recorded? Not necessarily from Marillion.
Wish You Were Here.
Ever recorded? Oh my goodness me!
The first
it
one.
Might be. It might be. It could be Revolver. Actually, Revolver is a great album.
Side to Abbey Road.
Side to Abbey Road.
Or
what's it called? The album after Katie. The album after Katie Lied by Steely Dan. I can't remember the name of it now.
Me too. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Okay. And sorry for this question. If you want, we can. But a few years ago, I've had the chance to interview your ex-bandmate, Dick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
We can tell the question if you want.
No,
it's
I was
just trying to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Well done, Pete.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And during the 30th anniversary of Misplaced Childhood, how is actually the relation with him? Are you still in contact with him? And is there any chance to see you both together playing one or two songs as it's happened some years ago?
If hell ever freezes over, I think there's a very good chance, yes.
Yeah. It's a good answer.
Yeah, it's a strange one really, because obviously there's the history and a lot of people, you know, there's a nostalgia thing and a lot of people grew up where
I love both the people.
The old, you know, the old Marillion was their first listening to the band.
But we
get on very well socially. We get on great. But no, I couldn't work with him. Couldn't be on the same stage, I'm afraid.
You know, the only collaboration really is through these reissues that Warners are doing.
And our lawyers.
Yes.
So we do
get a lawyer.
The pieces we get on fine these days.
Yeah, we do.
You know.
We get on very
obviously,
well.
you know, everyone's got their own agenda when it comes to things like this. But yeah, no, we're very happy with how things are.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is with the way the music industry is these days, for us and for Fish, we have a very own way of working.
Yeah.
And the two just wouldn't mix.
Yes. Are changed lots of things in
course.
these years. So we are still in contact with him, but there isn't at the moment any chance to collaborate musically talking.
Yeah, that
wouldn't happen.
Okay. Sorry for the question.
No, that's okay.
You've deeply inspired many generations of young musicians. Are there any young band that you really enjoy today?
No, there's not many young bands I become aware of really. I mean, not in the country.
Me too.
I mean, I suppose they're not that young, but I think Haken have got very impressive players.
Yeah, for me too.
Yeah. You know, I like what they do. I like their playing ability. I think they're quite a cool band.
Yeah.
There's lots of other interesting stuff. Funnily enough, we've been listening to lots of all sorts of different music on the bus, because there's us and the orchestral, and the kind of two sides meet in the middle. You know, it's funny.
Yeah. And are you working on some new stuff, new materials, and upcoming album or any other collaboration in this period?
We're working on the next Marillion album. That's what all of next year is pretty much focused on. We do the Cruise to the Edge at the end of March, but other than that, it's Marillion all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're looking forward to it as well. And we've started. We've tended to. The trouble is, we've made so many albums.
Yeah.
And it's quite a daunting prospect, thinking, where do we go next? What's going to happen? Until you actually dive in and just start and experiment.
Of course.
You don't really know where it's going to go.
Yeah. And any musician with you whom you'd like to play together in the next future?
Well, I've kind of been doing some writing with Steve Hackett on and off the last few years, so maybe that will eventually reach fruition. I did some work with Thorsten from Tangerine Dream this year, which might well surface as an album at some point. So, other than that, I'm just doing my own album, and I'll do another album with my band at some point as well. And the Marillion album, I think that's kind of enough for now.
Well, I've still got some ongoing writing ideas I'm working on with Edison's Children. But I mean, as Steve says, I mean, the main focus next year is Marillion. I recently played bass guitar for The Sea Within. I replaced Jonas Reingold and played with Marco Miniman.
Marcus Miniman, great drummer.
So he's a fantastic drummer, and he was him and I were talking about maybe doing something together.
The last question: which is the best advice you want to send to the young musicians?
Don't drink anything you can't see through.
Just believe in yourself, and don't think it comes to you. You do have to put yourself out there. It always seems like bands just fall into things and everything comes by luck. There's an awful lot of hard work involved. The luck is only a part of it.
My sensible advice would be, first of all, steal from as many people as possible. Secondly, understand how the industry works, because not many people do. And thirdly, grow your fan base. Social media, being able to contact your fans.
Today is the main important things.
It is. You won't get a major record label going to give you €500,000 anymore.
It's not like in the past.
No,
it's totally changed.
There are ways. There are ways to slowly grow your fan base and get involved. Try and stay on top of all of the little things, because they're the things that escape you, and you suddenly realise it's all gone wrong.
And also just be aware of that. It's not about your own ego. It's about working together as a band, and life's too short for anyone to be a prima donna. You should enjoy the experience, because you don't know if it will bring you success or not. All you can say is that to have the camaraderie of going on the road and doing what you love with a great bunch of people is reward in itself.
So thank you so much for the precious time you are dedicating us.
Getting close to season's end, I heard somebody